We are live. Val, we're live, I think.
Okay, I see live right there. We are live.
We are live. Val, how are you today?
I'm doing great. Doing good.
This is Dr. Dan Call. We are doing a live destination health podcast today, finding function in a functional world. And we have Val Maksym, Maksymizing Life, coming on today because she has written a book, and I recommend the book to everybody. I got my signed copy. I'm in the office today. I forgot the book at the house. It's on my bookshelf right there. Started reading it. Val, great book. Thank you very much for writing this. And today, what we're going to do is we're going to be talking about surviving the holidays. How are you going to survive the holidays? Because you know what? Everybody gains the 10 to 15 pounds, Val, right? Not everybody. I don't. You don't.
Right.
But a lot of people gain a lot of weight during the holidays, and then they say, oh, let's get up and let's get going. And now January comes along. They make that New Year's resolution, that New Year's revolution, whatever you want to call it. And Val, what happens after, 3 to 4 weeks? They go to the gym. What happens? They just kind of fall out, and so all these gyms that are like $20, $25 a month, this is how they make their money. This is where they make their money. This is why they're in business, because by the time you figure out that you haven't used the gym in 7 months and they're only hitting you for $25 a month, what happens then, right? Then you're like, oh, geez, do I stay? Do I go? So Val, let's talk about this. Tell me, what are your thoughts? Holidays are coming up. All sorts of holidays are coming up, and there's food. Everybody eats.
Yes.
Is it okay? Is it okay to have a cup, a slice of cake every now and again? You're out. But a lot of people gorge, I see it in my office. A lot of people gorge, right?
Yes. I like to go by the 80-20 rule. Maybe in the holidays 75-25, but I think without a plan, then you're setting yourself up for failure. It's a hard time of the year. There's, like you said, there's food coming in the office, there's food here, there's food there, there's this party, there's that party. And if you don't have a plan and you're just going with the flow, I think without even realizing it, you put the 10 or 15 pounds on because you're just having fun. So I think going into the holidays, even now, we still have plenty of time, but to just be mindful and to have a plan, whatever that plan is for yourself. Now, if you don't want to put the pounds on and you don't want to put the extra weight on, then you're definitely going to have to make adjustments, make plans, be mindful of what you're eating, how much you're eating.
Right. So tell me, when you say you put together a plan, tell me, what is your plan? How do you approach the holidays, Val?
I really, really try to not focus my entertainment anymore around food. That's just for me, because I love food. I love going out to eat. I love restaurants. I love nice restaurants. I like appetizers. I like dessert. I like my wine. I like all that, but I know how hard it is to get the weight off. So I have to weigh that in my head. Like, okay, is it worth it? And it's not worth it to me. So I really try to, Monday through Friday, I just follow a very I don't want to say strict when I'm not in competing season, but I follow a plan. And then on the weekends, I know, hey, the weekend's coming. I can, go out and have a meal and not even worry about what I'm having.
Right.
But, I do my gym work. During the week, I follow my plan. So that way I get through the holidays and it's not a big deal. I didn't put all this weight on, because I also feel like, another thing that I say is, how we exit one year is how we enter the next year, right?
Yeah, I like that a lot.
So when you're closing out this year and you're looking back on things, you're so close to the end of the year, don't just blow it and be like, oh, well, whatever, right, I'm just going to go all out. Because when you come into the new year, then you have so much more work, in my opinion, to then get yourself back on track. And there's many times some people just don't ever recover from it. And then this becomes something that just rolls over year after year after year after year. And it's a health issue. It's not even necessarily the weight issue. It's what the extra weight does to our body, right? As you know, you're a doctor, so what that does. And sometimes I think people don't even realize that side of it, that aspect of it.
So I love this. the way you close out the year is the way that you're going to start the next year. You might as well have a plan to end the year on a high note so that 2023, you're continuing on that, because
Mhm.
most people, if not all people, what they do is during this time is that they don't end on a high note. It's Christmas Eve, it's Hanukkah, it's all the holidays, then it's the new year. You might as well just start in the beginning, because now you can eat, drink, and be merry. But that's not the way to approach this. So have a plan. If you're invited to a half a dozen holiday parties, strategize on what you're going to eat, right? Because you know that there's going to be some type of macaroni, you know there's going to be a meat dish, a fish dish. And if you're going to have something, maybe just a little macaroni, and stay with some, nice lean proteins and high impact carbs, so that you're not gaining the weight. Stay away from the alcohol. The alcohol is empty calories. You want to have a good time, have a glass of wine during the course of an evening. How many glasses of wine do you need, Val, right, to have a good time? Do you need 50 of them in an evening? Do you need 6 of them in an evening? Can you just not have, maybe just 1 or 2? And, if you're going to these holiday parties, sometimes I don't go because it's just so busy this time of season. I was talking to a friend, and I'm like, it's just so busy this time of season. They want everything in before the holidays, hockey games and business. You got to close out the quarter for the year. So give us some specifics. So if you're at a holiday party, what do you do? How do you approach this?
I mean, like I said, I just have plan knowing, like I kind of know, like you said, lean protein and then if I have a protein, I'm not going to have something that's like smothered in gravies and sauces and all of that.
Right.
And then even my salads, I make sure I put dressing on the side, because if you go, even we have Salada here. I don't know what your salad place is, but you can get a salad that has 1,200 calories easy all day long with the dressings and the stuff on it. So
Sure.
I make sure I have my, dressing on the side. And I think just educating yourself on actually what a healthy caloric intake is a day. So first you need to know that. If you don't know that, then you're gonna miss it, right? So
Right.
like for myself, if I don't want to gain weight, I've done those testing things, but I think I blew in something.
I know what you mean.
I can roughly have 14 to 1,500 calories a day and I'm fine, like, and not like put weight on.
Right.
But people don't realize how, I think we get lost in how many calories are in things, because you can go to a restaurant and look at the menu. And I know here in Texas, a lot of our menus have the calories on it. And you're just like, whoa, when you really see that, it's like, do I really want this meal? Because this meal alone is 1,500 calories.
A meal alone is 1,500 calories. And then you have all the other extra things that are going along with it. So you need to be really, really careful on what to do.
And I know, like for me as a woman, after I hit about, I'd say early 40s, I really had to eat less and less if I had any chance of, keeping my weight at a certain number, because it just gets harder and harder to one, keep it off, and then, not put it on. And then when you do get it on, it's like, I find it's 10 times harder than ever was to take it back off. It's like, I can put 10 pounds on easy in a month if I'm eating crazy. And it will take me 6 months of dedicated, hardcore, going to the gym, macroing my food out to get that weight off for me. And I know people, it gets them frustrated. So then they just give up on it. And then they put 10 more pounds on it. It becomes this vicious cycle if you don't have a plan. And that's why I said, so if you don't even understand calories, what's in labels, what are ingredients, what are your basic, I think you have to know some kind of, educate yourself a little bit on food.
And I think that's what our next podcast is going to be on. We're going to educate people on calories and what they should be eating, because what I've noticed, and food is a social thing also, right? Besides nourishment, besides fuel for your body, it's social. So you're sitting around a table and on the holidays and so forth, and you're talking with your family, your friends, everybody's having a great time, everybody's laughing. And you know what I say to individuals, and this has worked very well, Val, all right, and maybe you can use this for your clients, but at one point in time, how long do you want to sit at the table? Because sitting at the table is dangerous. It's dangerous because you're sitting there and you're going to eat, oh, just a little bit more stuffing, or just a little bit more of the Christmas turkey, or a little bit more of this, or whatever it is you're going to eat that day. And we've all been there, right, Val? I've done that, and you've done that before, right? And so what I suggest, and what I have with all my clients and my patients, I say to them, at some point in time, you need to move away from that table.
Yes.
Right? Even if you get your chair and move away, you're away from the table. Get away from the table, right? Because if you're sitting directly at that table, you're going to eat. Maybe they're watching some sports on TV, or they're watching a movie somewhere along the line in another room. You could go in there and converse with those individuals. Stay away from the snacks, stay away from the pretzels and the potato chips. But at some point in time, after about an hour-ish, you need to push away from that table. You can come back, and I say to my clients, listen, you can eat, just eat in that hour, because you really can't go crazy. I mean, you can do some damage in an hour, but take your time, enjoy, have a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Then you got to walk away from the table. And then for dessert, the same, right? You're going to do the same. Go to the table, half an hour you have at the dessert table, because if you spend 2 hours at the dessert table, next thing you know, you ate all of the apple pie. It may feel good going down, but you're ending 2022 off poorly, and 2023 is really not going to be where you want to be when it comes to this, right, Val?
Right, exactly.
So I love that. Start the new year off right, continue on, right? The end of the year into the new year, because what happens is that if you don't do that, it could become a real problem. So we got some people watching us, Val, and I'm Dr. Dan. Hey, everybody. And this is Val. She is a figure pro. You have a show coming up, right? In the next.
Yeah, I'm not a pro, but I'm a figure competitor. I'm going to be competing just on Saturday.
Right. And so you're competing this Saturday. Wow.
Yes.
This is it. You're ready to go. So if anybody has any questions, let us know. All right. So we do have somebody, my friend Maria. Maria, I know I owe you a phone call. I have to speak about your husband. Maria always makes a healthy dessert alternative to bring for the holidays. And that's another great tidbit. So if you are going to somebody's house, you can make a healthy dessert. You can make a healthy dish. You can make a healthy side dish. And you can concentrate on that, right, Val?
Exactly. Yes.
What's your healthy side dish when you go to somebody's house, Val? What do you make?
I haven't gone to like a ton of house parties, so I usually just won't even have the dessert, but or I'll have a bite of it, just a bite or two. And I like to wait till I get home, and then I'll if I'm going to have dessert that day, I treat myself with Halo ice cream, because it's so little calories, and I love it. So I just have my thing like that I do.
And as Maria Silconalfi is saying, always be prepared. So make sure that you bring that if that's what you want. So Val, okay, tell us about your book.
Okay, well, my book is right here. So it's Maksymizing Life.
Maksymizing Life from Val Maksym. Don't you like to play on words, everybody?
There's so many things that I'm working on behind the scenes right now. I have some people that want me to make it a movement, and really just maximizing life is thinking about every area of your life, whether it's a relationship, a friendship, your health, your fitness, your spiritual life, your financial situation. So it's all of those things. So thinking about all of those things, and every day being mindful, or every week just going back and trying to be a little bit better in each of those areas of life.
Right. So it goes through every different area of life and how to overcome things, because you've overcome a lot. Go back into our podcast to see that. and you'll see what's going on, because it's a very interesting conversation with Val. And Val and I are in negotiations. We may be having something for everybody coming in January, where we're going to help individuals, males, females, in their midlife crisis, lose weight, stabilize their hormones, gain lean muscle mass, lose percent body fat, and get healthy, starting off the end of the year, bringing it into 2023. So Val,
Yeah.
I'm very excited about that in addition to.
Yes.
So where's the show on Saturday, Val? We're almost done here.
The show is in Dallas.
The Dallas.
Texas.
So you don't have to travel very far.
Couple
And
hours.
Couple hours. So good luck. All
Thank
right.
you.
Text
Yes.
me on Saturday. Let me know how you did. Give me the thumbs up when you get that first place trophy.
I will. You know, this is a very subjective sport, though. It's very interesting. People say, "How did you do?" It's really hard to say, because it's just whatever the judges, everybody looks so great. So it's just kind of what look they want for that day.
Yeah, I get it. And so all of our listeners, Maria and others, are saying good luck
Oh,
at
thank
your
you.
show on Saturday.
Thank you.
So we're very excited. So Val, thank you very much for coming on today.
Yes, thank you.
Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure talking with you. And everybody, live your best life. Have a plan. End 2022 on a high note. Continue on with 2023. More to come for Val and I. Val, great talking to you, and we will talk soon. Take care, everybody.